the story begins. Know this, some loves should have stayed forgotten. What if I told you that the gods didn't love, they consumed, that every romantic myth carved into marble wasn't poetry, it was a warning written in blood. Part of you wants to close this now, but part of you knows you must hear what Olympus tried to bury. Because tonight, 5 loves will be exhumed. 5 tragedies the ancients whispered about only after sunset. This was never erased, but it was never meant to be remembered either. If you dare step further into the shadows of divine desire, subscribe now, because stories like these don't stay buried forever, and neither do the gods who lived them.
This is not a tale of Cupid's arrow or eternal devotion. This is what they buried beneath the temples, what they carved out of hymns, what mothers stopped telling their daughters. These are the loves that cost more than life. They cost everything after. Picture ancient Greece, not as white columns and laurel wreaths, but as fog rolling over burial mounds at dusk. Temples where priests whispered prayers to gods they feared more than revered. A world where love wasn't tender, it was territorial. Where passion didn't bloom, it led. And in that world, 5 stories unfolded that would stain the earth forever. The first poison, grief that refuses to let go. Orpheus, the man whose music could make stones weep, whose lyre could charm even Hades, the god of death himself. When his bride Eurydice died from a serpent's bite on their wedding day, Orpheus did what no mortal should ever do. He descended into the underworld, past the river Styx, through fields of the forgotten, and he played until Hades' iron heart cracked. Take her, Hades whispered, but do not look back until you reach the surface. One rule, one impossible rule for a man drowning in grief. But here's what they don't tell you in the songs. No one tells you what happened in that final moment, the real reason he turned around. Some say Orpheus heard her footsteps fade. Others say he heard nothing at all, and that silence broke him. He turned, and in that single backward glance, Eurydice dissolved like smoke. Her scream echoed through the caverns as she was dragged back into eternal night. Orpheus returned to the surface alone. Was this myth a warning that doubt can kill what we love most, or was it something darker, that even the gods wanted him to fail? That grief, when it moves mountains, must be punished. Orpheus never sang again, not truly. He wandered the forests, hollow-eyed, whispering her name, until the Maenads, wild women in the thrall of Dionysus, tore him limb from limb. They threw his head into a river, and even in death, his lips still mouthed her name, Eurydice, Eurydice. To this day, they say rivers carry whispers at dusk, that certain caves hum with the sound of a lyre no one is playing. If grief could move the gods,
What could jealousy destroy?
The second poison, jealousy, dressed as devotion. Adonis was not born from love. He was born from shame. But we'll return to that. First, know this. Adonis was so beautiful that two goddesses went to war over him. Aphrodite, goddess of love and desire. Persephone, queen of the underworld. Both claimed him. Both refused to let go. Zeus himself had to intervene, splitting the year into thirds. 4 months with Aphrodite, 4 with Persephone, 4 for Adonis alone. But that fragile peace shattered the day Adonis went hunting, and that's where the story gets dangerous.
A wild boar, massive, unnatural. Some say it was Ares, Aphrodite's jealous lover, shapeshifted into rage. Others whisper it was Artemis, angry at being disrespected. But the truth? The boar's tusks tore through Adonis like parchment. Aphrodite found him bleeding into the earth, his beauty dissolving into red. She wept, and where her tears mixed with his blood, red anemones bloomed. Was this simply a hunt gone wrong, or the hand of a jealous god?
The Greeks created the Adonia, festivals where women mourned Adonis every year, scattering flowers and singing dirges, not for a hero, for a man torn apart by divine obsession. His death became ritual, his blood became symbol, and his birth, that's where the real horror begins.
The third poison, desire so forbidden it transforms you. Myrrha, a princess cursed by Aphrodite to fall in love with her own father. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, literally. Night after night, she came to him in darkness, concealing her identity, until one night he lit a lamp and saw his daughter's face.
But was it truly Aphrodite's curse, or something older, something that predates even the gods? Her father raised his sword, Myrrha ran, and as she fled, she prayed, not for forgiveness, but for erasure. The gods answered, her legs fused into roots, her arms stretched into branches, her skin hardened into bark. Myrrh sap, sticky, fragrant, bitter, began to weep from the tree, and 9 months later the tree split open. From her wooden womb, Adonis was born. This is a love so poisonous, it birthed both shame and beauty. Myrrha's story was rarely sung, rarely painted, because some myths are too close to the things humans actually do. If the gods could turn shame into monsters, what would obsession create? But the high priest was not the only one watching.
The fourth poison, obsession that consumes until nothing remains. Echo was a nymph who loved to talk. Her voice was silver, her laughter endless, until she deceived Hera, distracting the goddess, while Zeus seduced other nymphs. Hera's punishment was elegant and cruel. You will speak, but never first. You will only echo the words of others. And then Echo met Narcissus.
Narcissus was so beautiful that everyone who saw him fell in love. Everyone, but he loved no one. Echo followed him through the forest, desperate to speak, only able to repeat his words. Is anyone there? Anyone there? Come to me. To me? When he finally saw her, he recoiled in disgust. I would rather die than even let you touch me. Echo collapsed. She faded. Her body dissolved into air. Only her voice remained, trapped forever in caves and canyons, repeating the words of others. Was Echo punished for deceiving Hera or for daring to love the wrong man?
Nemesis, goddess of revenge, decided Narcissus would know Echo's pain. She led him to a pool of water so still it became a mirror, and Narcissus saw himself. He fell in love. He reached for the beautiful boy in the water, but every touch shattered the image. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't look away. Days passed, weeks. He withered, and when he finally died, his body transformed into a white flower, head bowed, forever gazing downward, the Narcissus flower.
To this day, narcissus flowers grow near water. And to this day, if you shout into a canyon, someone answers. But it's not really someone, it's Echo, still repeating, still unable to speak her own words. If obsession can hollow you out completely, what can a simple misunderstanding destroy?
The fifth poison, fatal miscommunication. Pyramus and Thisbe, two lovers in Babylon, forbidden to marry by their families. Their homes shared a wall, and in that wall a crack. Every night they whispered through it promises, dreams, plans to run away. One night they agreed, meet at the mulberry tree by the tomb of Ninus at dawn. Thisbe arrived first, but so did a lioness, fresh from a kill, her jaws stained red. No one tells you what happened to the last one who tried to run away.
Thisbe fled, dropping her cloak. The lioness tore it apart, staining it with blood. When Pyramus arrived and found the shredded, bloodied cloak, he didn't hesitate. He assumed she was dead. He drew his sword and he drove it into his own chest. Moments later, Thisbe returned. She found him dying beneath the mulberry tree, his blood soaking into the roots. She understood immediately. She took the same sword and joined him.
The white mulberries, they say, drank their blood, and from that day forward, mulberries ripened red, not white. A reminder that love, when lost to misunderstanding, stains everything it touches. So, ask yourself this: were these loves cursed by the gods or by themselves? Was Orpheus doomed by doubt or by a bargain designed to fail? Was Adonis torn apart by a beast or by the jealousy of immortals? Was Myrrha cursed by Aphrodite or by desires that predate even Olympus? Did Echo fade because of Hera's wrath or because she loved someone incapable of love? Did Pyramus and Thisbe die from a misunderstanding or from a world that forbade them to speak freely?
I loved and I was devoured. I reached and I was transformed. I spoke and my voice was stolen. I trusted and I was buried alive beneath the earth. You call us myths, legends, symbols, but we were real and we are still screaming.
Why do we still tell these stories? Because every red flower reminds us of Adonis. Every echo in the mountains is Narcissus and Echo bound forever. Every misunderstanding that ends in tragedy is Pyramus and Thisbe reborn. We carry these myths in our blood.
From Orpheus to Adonis and Myrrha, from Echo and Narcissus to Pyramus and Thisbe. Every love on Olympus carried the same truth. Divine desire was never pure. It was bound to grief, shame, and blood. You can forget a name, but not its shadow. Next time, we descend deeper into the myth they tried to burn. The one where the gods themselves wept. Remember,
If you feel the chill even now crawling along your spine, subscribe, because what's buried will rise again, and some loves refuse to stay dead.